Brown 45! Brown 45! Hot, 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 hot!
Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Week 2 of Ball and Chain in the Generic Fantasy League. It has been a monster of a start to the season. I'm here with Mr. Brian Flowers to kick it all off. Brian, how are we doing this evening?
I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic. I'm doing absolutely fantastic. Cooper, how are you doing?
Immediately blowing your mic out. Great energy for the episode today.
Uh-huh.
Now I have to ask, did you just come from the Top Gun showing at your local movie theater?
I did not. I was actually at my local ranch. I was bidding on a few horses and sheep and cows. Oh my. And I just came back from Dallas. That's where it was. And boy, is the energy electric over there. It's great. It's almost like they got a really good defense on a really good football team. I don't know.
Yeah, big news, I believe, since our last episode, where that Dallas defense is currently residing on whose roster.
Yeah, Jimmy traded me the Dallas defense. He wanted the Eagles defense. He said it was going to be the exact same thing. It wasn't the exact same thing. Spoiler alert, it wasn't the exact same thing. I knew that Micah Parsons and the Marauders were going to come out there and they're going to handle business like no other.
Look, you're going to talk yourself up enough this evening. Tell me what happened this week. What does the audience need to know? What were some of the big events?
The big events, Cooper, if you were to open the Sunday paper, you would see a few headlines.
Oh my goodness.
Most of all, let's just get it out of the way now. Big headline at the top of the page. Welcome to the dog pound. Guess what? The dogs are for real. Have you ever seen a performance like the one put on by the dogs in the season opener? How many points? 173.86. Who's counting? Ridiculous.
In the season opener. Look, I'm not going to say fluke quite yet. That's not sustainable. Brandon Ayuk is not scoring 30 points every week in and week out.
He's not, but you know what that was? That was it. That was him saying, okay, all right, let's be for real. I'm a great flex option, possibly even a wide receiver too.
I'm not upset with that.
That's what that was. Cooper, what's in your Sunday paper?
Yeah, you turn that one over. We have Diggs and Dicker drown St. Brown. Florida hits absolute bottom against the Goofy Goobers.
Wow.
It's true. We didn't expect it to be a high-scoring game. I don't think either team broke 80 points. if barely, if so. It was a bit of a snooze fest. I want to talk about, well, let me see what your next headline is. I have a feeling you might be in the exact same realm of the conversation I'm about to kick off.
Okay, I do. Don't worry. It's in my Sunday paper here. We got the same issue. I can see it right here. But my next headline, Cooper, where do you live again?
I'm in Denver, Colorado.
You're in Denver,
Let's
Colorado.
ride.
Well, then you
Broncos
must
Nation?
have seen, huh?
Broncos Nation, let's ride.
Broncos Nation, that's right. Well, then you must have seen the new donut shop that just opened. There's a new donut shop that just opened in Colorado, and it's named the MIC Child Killers. They were giving out Zero's donuts like it was their job. Three on the day. Goose eggs, bagels in the morning, donuts also in the morning. We've never seen it before. Aaron Rodgers out for the year. Maybe that might be a blessing in disguise. Keep watching to find out. And Chime Okonkwo,
whatever his name was.
We saw that coming.
Brian, you just about took the words out of my mouth with my next headline here. We're going to do a bit of a Baltimore accent challenge. Aaron earned an iron earn as he buried his career in the dirt. One drive into the game, gone for good. Those child killers are immediately irrelevant. Not that old man Rodgers was doing much, 1 foot in the grave, but he's fully 6 feet under now.
Ridiculous. He's done. Didn't even get. He's 0 for 4. Just so you know, 0 for 4. No points at all. Wow. Yeah, very disappointing for the Child Killers, but I mean, we've been saying this the whole time.
Yeah.
Do you want to know what my
Look,
last headline is?
please,
Not
please.
to hammer too much on the Child Killers, but this one isn't as clever. The headline will read, DJ Moore does exactly what we thought DJ Moore would do. He goes out there and gets 4.5 points. Was he or was he not the boof last week for me?
He was, in fact, the booth very
Is
well
there a bigger
predicted.
boof? Yes, there is a bigger boof. There's 3 bigger boofs on Jimmy's team.
Right. I don't have a great headline for this one, but
I'm heating up.
Joe Burrow with just an atrocious 78 passing yards. 3 of the top 4 QBs that were taken in our league combined for, I want to say, 15 points between
What?
Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow. It was just not a good time to take a QB anywhere
No,
in the first few rounds.
not at all. Not at
That's
all.
coming from the man who drafted a QB first last year. So
Deshaun's looking pretty good out there.
Deshaun is looking real good.
Deshaun's looking great.
Brian, enough of the jibber jabber. We are 1 week in, absolutely far enough in to determine who's for real and who's not in this league. We're going to break this up into a nice tiered system. You know them, you love them. Mixed up a little bit. We're going to start right middle of the pack, middle of the road. Who are your teams that didn't wow, but also didn't disappoint?
Right. We're gonna start right in the middle and expand on out. My middle of the road teams. We're gonna begin with the Florida man. The Florida man, he was coming in. He had such a great team. I even had him in my top 2. Cup gets hurt, and then honestly, I would have him higher, just for the fact that Cup is gonna come back. But the coaching decisions. What are we doing? What are we doing? Adam Thielen, he busted for you last year. You didn't learn anything. And then you're playing Jamal Williams at the flex. Next, LeBron's third leg.
LeBron's third leg is a middle of the road
Right there
team.
in the middle.
Not even
Right there in the middle.
a playoff caliber team.
Not quite. Maybe. But middle of the field, I don't think he's going to be great. He's got 2 workhorses, and you know exactly who they are. You got Josh Allen and then C. Mac. Wow. Anybody else?
That one, week 1.
Don't love it. Lastly, I don't know if you agree with this, in my middle of the road tier, we've got the Goobers.
I think that's going to be the only spot in which you and I overlap in the middle of the road tier. I also had the Goobers. I think looking at the names on paper, Tony Pollard, Joe Burrow, Stephon Diggs, Tyler Lockett, it's a good looking squad. I just didn't see much there in week 1. A little, maybe he'll turn it around. Maybe he'll continue the downslide. So for me, very much middle of the pack. The second team is actually my opponent in week 1. It's going to be LA Ligma FC, one of the newer managers to the league.
Wow.
Justin Jefferson had a solid showing in mid 20 points last week. Drake London, I believe, got a goose egg. If not, goose egg from Drake London.
He visited that donut shop. He did.
It is very clear that Atlanta team is not changing their run first, run always, run often philosophy. Drake London was a bust last year when I drafted him. I think the same thing's happening this year.
Yeah.
And, Dotson for the Commanders didn't really shine quite as much as I think a lot of people had hoped he would. So, again, another team for me that's very middle of the pack thus far.
I do like Jahan Dotson, though. I like him. But good gravy. I mean, where's he playing him? Yeah, it's just right now, I don't know if Logan can afford to have that guy in his starting lineup. That's too big of a risk.
Now, Brian, one of the other teams you mentioned, the Florida man, as I mentioned, hit rock bottom via the Goobers last week. I've got him missing the playoffs. I think it's as simple as that.
Missing the playoffs tier? You don't believe that Cup's going to come back and make a difference?
Look, Cup came back for half a game from last season?
He did, but it's not last season. He had a big
he'll come
injury.
back for another half a game, get 7 points, then be carted off the field.
That's tough.
You've said multiple times Justin Fields doesn't know how to throw a football.
I'm on record.
Damian Pierce is already splitting his workload about 50-50
Yep,
on that Houston squad. The one saving grace here is really Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yep.
I think he was underutilized in week 1. Dan Campbell came out and said, hey, we were just showing the rookie what a real game feels like, letting him get his feet wet, expect more usage. I really see that being his RB1 for the rest of the season. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown, a great player for sure. I just don't think there's enough of a supporting cast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fairly confident.
Dallas Goedert's not going to give 0 points. That's a quality tight end. He's not going to give you 0 points again.
He might not. But Jalen Hurts did forget he played on the same team as Goddard this past week on multiple occasions.
He did.
In game-deciding drives at that.
Yep. Maybe Patriots got great tight end defense. I don't know what to say. That's great.
Brian, who else is in your missing the playoffs tier?
We're going down. You're right. We're going down. We're down there in the missing playoffs tier, the guaranteed missing playoffs tier. This is where I've got the LA Ligma FC guys. I got them in there, and it's really no doubt for me. Miles Sanders, not the back we thought he would be. Jonathan Taylor, who knows? It's hard to put a team with Justin Jefferson in there, but man, who else has he got other than Jalen Hurts? It's just it's not going to be enough. Sitting right next to him is the New York TikTok guy.
It hurts me to say, given he was my league favorite. I've got him in the missing the playoffs tier as well now.
I don't know what you were thinking last week. What the hell were you thinking?
Look,
you got to recalibrate.
Najee Harris is, again, already splitting workload. James Cook did not perform in the way he wanted to. It wasn't a good game for that team as a whole. Travis Kelce will come back at some point, and he'll put 25 up consistently. I do have to give the manager credit for picking up Blake Bell. A very controversial decision. Scoring a solid streaming option morning of 2 a.m. in France, where the manager is currently residing. I got to respect that a lot. But to have two Steelers on that team, Chris Godwin was completely outshined by Mike Evans this past week. I don't know. I'm not loving the team like I did 8 days ago.
Nope. Yeah. Again, sticking it to old man Jimmy DeCamp, who roasted him in the group chat for that. Boom. Touchdown pass from old Patty Mahomes. Great call, Kyle. So, yeah. Sorry to have you there, but that's just the facts. And then this may be too high. This may be too high.
Already agree with you.
We're putting the child killers in the missing the playoffs tier. Just so everybody knows, there is a tier below this tier. Listen, I don't even think he can argue it. You can't put up 66 points and expect to garner any sort of respect. It's tough. Is it going to happen again? No. Do I think he has a good team? No. Do I think he has a decent team who could make some noise? I do. But you got to be here this week. You got to be.
Yeah, Brian, I think we got these last two spots flip-flopped in our tiers. I've got the MIC Child Killers just a little bit lower. We'll introduce that tier in a second. But to speak to that squad, you mentioned the 3 donuts, goose eggs, black holes, abominations of lack of points last week.
Oh, yeah.
Saquon didn't get to play much in that game against the Cowboys this past week. I do think he'll be a solid player. He's getting a little bit more involved in the passing game. Nick Chubb is just a workhorse through and through.
Oh, yeah.
Mike Evans, I see a little bit as an overreaction to put him directly onto the squad. Now, I do want to say, the Child Killers have DJ Moore sitting on the bench where he belongs.
Week 5. He won't be on the team anymore.
It's just not great when you're picking up one of the players you were proudest about and put him on the bench in week 2.
Not great. I think that's admitting that, this guy may not be everything we thought he'd be.
Now, Brian, I think we just got to keep going down at this point.
Right.
We've alluded to it. There is one tier beneath missing the playoffs, and that is in the trash bin in the parking lot outside the stadium.
In the bin.
I'm going to let you do the honors of introducing the team that is certainly sitting in that position in your mind.
Boom! Hopkins lymphoma. Hopkins lymphoma. Did he win this week? Is he 1-0? Yeah. Do I care? No, absolutely not. I do not care. He also gets another softball with the Florida man this week. Oh, hang on. Let me bring up his roster here. Oh, my God. Look at this thing. Garrett Wilson. No,
Who's
Aaron
going to be
Rodgers.
throwing to Garrett Wilson next week?
Nobody. Another guy named Wilson who's not nearly as good as him. Hopkins, Derrick Henry, they're on the Titans. ETN, flash in the pan, and then he's got Kirk Cousins. George Kittle, fake, and then I don't know what his deal is with having a running back in the flex spot. Go get a wide receiver. Go get yourself a wide receiver and plug him in there.
I think Brandon Cooks would be a much better flex option. I'm going to throw it out there now. He looked solid. He's a veteran. The team really just spoke highly of the experience he's brought into the Cowboys locker room in this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just showing holes in the managerial style already. So, yeah, it's not a great look for that team thus far.
You wait till that coaching metric comes out. You'll see. Yep. And I'm guessing you got no other than...
That's the end of my trash list, or of the lower side of the tier list. Let's move up.
Yes, you've got the child killers.
Playoff
Obviously.
teams. You've
Playoff
mentioned
teams, one above, middle of the road.
Yeah, this is where, actually, no. Waddle House. We're going to start there. It was first of all, big props to the manager of Waddle House for committing, for having an ounce of creativity, switching up his team's logo, doing a rebrand. That's what we need in this league, is a little bit of ingenuity, and it's wonderful to see a manager who is involved in the day-to-day communications and really goes above and beyond for his organization. So
We'd love to see it. He even got the logo right with his team name.
it's
Amazing.
phenomenal.
Fantastic work.
Major props there. That's the reason I do think, despite the very underwhelming Week 1 performance, he does have a playoff caliber team if he plays his cards right.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got to play them just right, with Justin, Joe, Javonte, Jamar, Jalen, Jackson, and Jaden.
You are absolutely right. He's got a stacked J team. Cooper, I got him up there too. Boom. There he goes.
I think we're getting majorly skewed by Joe Burrow laying basically a goose egg. I mean, when you've got two Cincinnati players and they lose to the Browns, I believe Joe Burrow is now 1-5 against the Browns. It's just a statistical anomaly. I still think there's a lot to love in this team.
Yep, I agree. Could not agree more.
All right, I'm going to give another team that I think under-delivered Week 1, but has some real promising players, especially one that just came off the bench, and that is Chief Padawana, the resident 116th, maybe 132nd Native American in the league.
Yeah, let's not talk too bad about those, but yeah.
I, for one, did not expect Breece Hall to come back in Week 1 and put up double-digit points. And yet he did.
Did you see him running?
Did
you see him running every yard? Boom! Nuclear energy out of Breece Hall's thighs on that Monday night. It was amazing.
Trevor Lawrence and Calvin Ridley are just a match made in heaven. I don't see that slowing down anytime soon.
No way.
Josh Jacobs and Javonte Adams with the double Las Vegas players there, I think, is an interesting stack, but one that could work.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at the rest of the squad, I think it's a little light, especially having two Commanders players, one of those being Antonio Gibson, who is very much playing second fiddle to Brian Robinson Jr.
He is.
But look, it's a squad that's got enough to have a chance. And I've seen that manager be resilient, come back time and time again. I'm hoping he does it again this season.
I agree. Cooper, I got him up there too. He's up there too. I have for the exact same points you have. Cooper, we have the same team up there? Do you have another one?
I have one more team.
Oh, who is it?
The tier above this is contenders. I'm gonna spoil that now.
Of course.
I have one more team who is, a playoff team, but I don't think really competing yet. Keyword yet. Devontae's dogs.
That's disrespect. How could you put me there?
are merely a playoff team right now. Talk about a week 1 fluke that just skyrockets the value.
Are you serious? Absolutely not. I can't believe it. How many points did I put up? How many points?
Mr. Flowers, the jury has one question for you. Who's in as your quarterback at this very moment?
It's Daniel Jones, but it could be Jared Goff. It's Daniel Jones, but it could be Jared Goff. It could be anybody. It's a quarterback by committee over here.
Austin Eckler had a phenomenal showing, as we expected. Tweaked his ankle. I think that's going to linger a lot longer than anyone wants to admit.
Absolutely
Seattle
not.
Looked abysmal in that game last week. Kenneth Walker III is having his sophomore slump. We're not going to see it again. Brandon Ayuk put up 30 points.
No way.
He's going to finish the season with 35. Look,
buddy.
I don't.
Did you watch the Seahawks game? Kenneth Walker was running that backfield. They just had a bad day.
The Cowboys defense gave you like 20% of your points. You just can't rely on that week over week.
I was killing them before the Cowboys defense even played. I would have beaten anybody in the league if the defense got 0, except for Will. I can't believe this is disrespect. Cooper, I have you in the playoff team slot. You're not a contender.
No, you don't. Don't add me now.
I do. It's on my notes. It is absolutely on my notes. I cannot put you in contender status. I cannot do it. Absolutely not.
That's
Deshaun Watson, don't trust him. Ramondre, don't trust him. CeeDee Lamb, Dak will throw an interception. He may lead the league in interceptions. Michael Pittman Jr.
Jones is doing that. Let's be clear.
Michael Pittman Jr. has got a rookie quarterback. He's projected 13 right now. I can tell you right now. Watch again, just in case you missed it. Absolutely not. You're a playoff team. And you know what? I'm going to come right back to my contenders tier. You know who it is. It's me. It's the Dogs. Ooh, the Dogs are contenders. 173.86 points. I'm losing track. Cooper, it's the first week. How can you not put me up there? How can you not? How can you not?
Because you were 11th going into the week.
Yeah. People have been hating on me since last year. Last year, won the league. Never got that number 1 seed in Maddie's midweek matchup. Where's he? Off the air. People are hating on the Dogs. They're going to come back. They're going to show you.
I think you got a very respectable team. I just don't think you're ready to be a contender.
Hang on. Where's your team?
A contender. 100%.
Get the hell out of here. Why do you put your team up there but you don't put my team?
I got 2 wide receiver ones with Calvin Ridley and CeeDee Lamb. Ramondre Stevenson continues to be the dynamic back that New England team needs. Bijan in his first game scored 20 points, had a receiving touchdown, and Tyler Algier scored 22 points.
Bijan's the second back in that backfield.
The sky is the limit
over there. Deshaun Watson. Listen, Cleveland owns the Bengals every week.
Such poise, such a supple touch, if you will.
Absolutely
in that game.
Not. No, absolutely not. I can't even believe that you would put yourself there.
I can't tell you how many times during
such an average performance.
I can't tell you how many times during the Giants-Cowboys game the announcer said Darren Waller is the number 1 receiver on that team. They need to play through him more. That's what's going to happen all season. Your boy D. Jones is going to be tossing it right to Darren for 7 points for me, 4 points for you.
They did refer to him as the LeBron James of the Giants, which I don't agree with that at all. I can't believe it. Obviously, we both have the Silly Willies up there as the contenders.
Look, I gotta say, this feels like deja vu, being done with week 1, having the Silly Willies at the top of the table. I hope for that man's sanity and for all of our sake,
oh my God,
he stays up there a little bit longer.
He better. Oh my God. Can you imagine if those boys get hurt?
Aaron Jones is already suffering from a hamstring injury.
Oh my God.
Jacoby Myers, who put up a phenomenal amount of points, questionable for this week.
He's so
it's
solid.
written in the stars for that Silly Willy team.
If anybody goes down, he's got a backup. He's got David Montgomery. He's got Jacoby Myers. Lamar, I'm out on Lamar Jackson. Just so everybody knows, I'm out. I'm carrying this into week 9. I'm carrying this into week 9.
Silly Willies as a contender. I think we both have the same other contender at LeBron's third leg. I mean, just a strong showing from him week 1. Very similar play style, very similar managerial style to his season last year.
Mhm.
Josh Allen severely underperforming, throwing 3 interceptions, doing front flips over guys despite wanting to try and stay healthy longer this season.
He's
Christian
a baller.
McCaffrey is C-Mac. There's nothing more to say there.
He's a baller. Oh, as a contender? Really, as a contender?
I think when it comes down to it, the man behind the roster is just as important as the roster itself.
He's good.
And,
He's the Bill Parcells, Mike Tomlin, Bill Belichick of our league. He's just great.
Got a lot of respect for that manager.
Oh yeah.
So you have a single contender, or you have yourself and Silly Willy as contenders?
Yeah, I got myself and Silly Willy as contenders, which is completely correct.
Typical.
All right, we got to move on, or else I'm going to come across that screen. I'm going to grab you. Next, we got the Boof and the Boom.
The Boof and the Boom.
I'm 2 for 2 so far.
Who'd you have booming last week?
I had Boo. Oh, Calvin Ridley, maybe. Who'd I have busting? DJ Moore.
Yeah.
There it is. So I'm looking to go 4 for 4 this week. Cooper, why don't you lead us off with your boom?
My boom is going to be on a team that I said I think is struggling a little bit. Those men down south in Florida. Jahmyr Gibbs versus a very weak Seattle defense who just got curb stomped by the Rams. As I mentioned, Dan Campbell saying Jahmyr Gibbs is only going to have more of an involvement in that offense moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
He put on the spin move about 7 times in 3 downs, back to back to back, and it worked. Every time it worked.
Spamming that button.
I don't get it, but I enjoy watching it.
They got to patch that in the new Madden. It's they got to nerf him. That's not good.
David Montgomery played the role we thought he would play of running up the middle, get a couple of yards. Jahmyr Gibbs, very similar to Ramondre Stevenson as that dynamic, multifaceted running back.
Great
Lot
word.
to like there. That's my boom for this week, Brian.
My boom? I thought you were going to go to my boom. It's another guy who's going to have maybe not. He didn't have a great week last week, but he's going to. And it's Rachaad White. It is Rachaad White. He's playing Chicago. I don't know if anybody saw what Aaron Jones did last week against Chicago. For them. It's because Chicago sucks. They suck. He's getting a great volume for his position. He takes passes, as everybody knows. I think he's going to have a great week. And you know who I don't think is going to have a very good week?
Who's your boo for the week, Brian?
Yeah, this was planned, just so everybody knows, and this has nothing to do with what transpired earlier. It's CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb is, I don't know if anybody knows what team Sauce Gardner plays on. It's the New York Jets. He's very good. You know who's not very good? Dak Prescott. Sauce is locking him up. Run game was really working for Dallas. Tony Pollard might have a nice day. Yeah, it's CeeDee Lamb.
I just can't agree with that. You know, CeeDee didn't put up a great performance in week 1. That's because he stepped off the field about 8 minutes into the game when the secondary went in.
Oh, my God.
He had a phenomenal catch for about 60 yards in the first quarter. I think he's going to explode versus that Jets team.
George Pickens makes nice catches, too, but he's not a number 1. Come on.
Brian, my booth is going to lead us also into our game of the week. Being 2 teams that I consider contenders, or at the very least, in the playoff conversation. You may have differing opinions. This is going to be the Silly Willy versus LeBron's third leg.
Absolutely. Great matchup.
To kick off what's happening here, my boo for the week is going to be Aaron Jones. I don't even know if he's going to play, for one. The hamstring is not looking great per the initial reports. I think this is A.J. Dillon's chance to shine after scoring a whopping 5.6 in week 1. I think he's going to have 15.6 in week 2. And Aaron Jones is just going to come in, play a couple of downs, really not make an impact in that game. And I think that's a player that the Silly Willies really need to continue. I mean, Tyreek Hill is Tyreek Hill doing Tyreek things with Tua, scoring 45 points last week. Lamar, a measly 6 in week 1. But looking at that LeBron's third leg team, Josh Allen, we talked about him a lot. I don't think he's going to be great. I think he may not even be a top 2 QB at the end of the season.
Who's filling his shoes? Well, what? He
Deshaun,
runs.
obviously.
Oh my God!
All in jest.
Glazing. The Tinglers glazing is ridiculous. I can't believe it.
Brian, what are your keys to this game? What are you looking at between
Oh,
the Silly
my
Willy and LeBron's third leg?
Yeah, Josh Allen's booming. That's gonna happen. He's lighting up Las Vegas. He's gonna light them up. He's gonna have a great bounce back game. What else we got here on my note sheet? He's got Christian McCaffrey. I talked about this earlier. He's got a bomb squad, a 1-2 bomb squad. He's gonna continue his dominance, and guess what? Will Christian Watson return? That is the question mark. If he does, Packers look great last week. If he returns, I think the Browns third leg will win. If he does not, I think they will lose.
I think that's a very reasonable take. I'm going to need one or the other.
Don't worry. It's coming up. Let me give you the keys for the Willies. A.J. Brown pops off. He scores 2 touchdowns against the Vikings. The Vikings also have a horrible defense. Tyreek, however, will be stifled by the New England defense. They got a decent defense over there. Matthew Judon's going to go over there and get to Tua. Bounce his head off the field like a basketball. And then the Bills D, again, the Bills are going to handle Las Vegas. They're going to get, I think Jimmy G is going to throw 2 picks. That being said, let me give my prediction. I calculated this every which way, and it always came out 118, 120, Silly Willies.
Silly Willy's winning it.
They win.
That's a close match.
That is a close match.
Very close match. You know, Brian, I'm going to agree with you with the Silly Willies taking it. I think Aaron Jones is going to put a little bit of a damper on those point totals. I'm going to go 112 Willies, 102 LeBron's third leg. I think
102. Wait, what?
I think Christian McCaffrey and Josh Allen are going to contribute at least 40% of the points for that team this week. And I'll put a couple cores on that.
How many cores?
I'll put a couple cores on that.
What is the line for that?
40% of that team's points or more are going to be from Josh Allen and Christian McCaffrey at the end of week 2.
You know, I really was hammered how good they are, but 40%?
40%.
I'll take the under on that. I'm definitely taking the under on that. Smashing the under.
We'll see what happens come the end of week 2. There's an exciting week 2 ahead. I don't think anyone could have predicted the matchups we had in week 1, both on the field and off the field. I'm incredibly excited to see what happens in week 2. Before we let you all go, we're going to play a quick little game here, Brian. Part of your job and my job as anchors, as sports people, be quick on our feet. Be quick thinking.
I am. Yeah, very cool.
I'm going to say some words or some phrases to you. We're going to play a fantasy football style word association game.
All right.
I toss you a line. You give me the first thing that comes to your head.
Okay.
Are you ready?
No, hang on. Yes, I'm ready.
Generic fantasy league.
I hate Jimmy DeCamp.
Waiver wire.
Roshan Johnson.
2,000 receiving yards.
Keenan Allen.
Low ceiling.
LA Ligma FC.
Falls off a cliff halfway through the season.
Florida man.
Lastly, trade bait.
Trade bait Gabe Davis.
Absolutely phenomenal. The reaction times there matched those of the best receivers in the league.
Well, Cooper, you do know that I was a Brighton wide receiver.
With 2 catches, 21 yards?
Let's put up on the screen how many fantasy points that was. Let's put in the comments if you would start me or not. Fantastic.
Now, Brian, to make this fair, I've put together a list of about 8 words as well that I've sent to you that you have not yet seen.
Oh my!
I made these very quickly, randomized them between the 2 of us. I'm going to let you pick whichever ones you see fit. Spring them on me. I'll do the same in return.
All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Shocking.
Jets win in the overtime. Aaron Rodgers, 0 points.
Wow. Very
Which,
good.
by the way, I would like to give a shout out. Not that I like talking about other leagues in front of my leagues, but Work League, we had a matchup in which Aaron Rodgers scored 0 points. The other manager had the Jets with 20 points.
Yep.
Won by half a point due to the worst beat, quite possibly, of all time.
Mm-hmm. That sucks. Ready for another one?
Ready.
Fluke.
Devontae's dogs. Look, I'm not going to say fluke quite yet. It just, that's not sustainable.
Oh, we're going to move on. Waiver wire pickup.
Kyron Williams.
Wow, I can't believe it. Flex player.
Gabe Davis.
Who is your daddy?
I could not agree more. Oh, I had a good one. Fool's Gold.
Joe Burrow.
Oh, wow, look at that. Not great for the Goobers. Cooper with one last one. Sucks.
Jimmy.
That's how we love to finish an episode.
Thank
Fantastic.
you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, for coming out to week 2 of Ball and Chain. We'll be here again, same time next week. Take care of yourselves.
Have a good one.